Have you noticed just a ton of fur all of a sudden in your rabbit's cage, all over the place? You're wondering, do rabbits shed their fur? Is that a normal thing for them to do? Don't worry, we're going to get all that cleared up for you in today's video. Hey guys, welcome back to another Slightly Rednecked video. Again, my name is Chris. If you're not familiar with this channel, I help you to produce your own meat, eggs, and vegetables from your backyard, your balcony, your deck, your garage, or heck, even a spare room in your house if that's the way you want to do it. Today we're talking about rabbits shedding. Is that a normal process? What do you need to do about it? All those topics kind of wrapped up. So let's start off. It's very normal for your rabbit to lose a little bit of fur all the time. It's just going to happen. It's just like any other kind of fur-bearing animal, dogs, cats, any of that stuff. They're always going to have a little bit of fur that they lose from time to time. But what you may have noticed is that every once in a while you go out there and check and it just looks like the rabbit exploded. There's just fur everywhere. That's very normal as well. Don't stress about that. It's called molting. And the rabbits go through that a couple of different times in their life. The first time that they primarily go through that is when they're about 4 to 5 months old, roughly, usually right around in there. They blow, what they call blow their coat. They molt. They shed off all that baby fur and they grow in their adult coat at that stage. The next times that they do that is usually seasonal, and usually they actually molt about every 3 to 4 months, somewhere right around in there, and most of the time you're not even really going to notice it much. But they do go through big molts usually twice a year. Once late winter time, and they'll blow their winter coat off because they don't need it anymore and grow in their summer coat that's a little bit lighter. It helps keep them a little bit cooler. Then in the summertime, towards the end of summer usually, early fall, somewhere right around in there, they'll blow their summer coat and they'll grow in their winter coat that's a little bit heavier and a little bit sturdier. Now most of the time there's nothing you have to do about it unless you're raising one of the specialty breeds, a little longer haired breeds like Angoras, some of those kinds of things that do require a lot more grooming. But with your standard meat rabbits, your Californias, your New Zealands, your Rexes, any of those kinds of things, usually you don't really have to do anything about it. They blow that coat. It takes about 2 weeks generally. Sometimes a little bit longer, sometimes up to 6 weeks for them to really get rid of that. You may notice it kind of starts at the head and works its way down through the rest of the body. You may notice that just slightly different color looking on the head where they've lost some fur, and you're not going to see skin. You're just going to see that, you know, they've shed some fur off there, and the fur looks a little bit different right there. Usually starts at the head, like I said, works its way down the body. So most of the time though, you don't have to worry about it. Nothing at all you need to do. Every once in a while, though, they get what we call stuck in the molt. And that's where it just kind of clumps up. It doesn't really shed off very well. And it's a good idea at that point to go ahead and help the rabbit out a little bit, especially when it comes to summertime. I've talked about this before on my channel, but rabbits really struggle with the heat of summer. So it's a good idea to help them get rid of that extra fur and shed that off. So they can be a little bit cooler in the summertime. Now I've got my buck right now. If you've been watching my videos, you may have noticed, a couple of weeks ago I did a video, got him out, and he was in the middle of molting right then. He's kind of stuck in the molt right now. He's got a bunch of fur clumps, and I'll bring him out here and show him to you, and you'll see what I'm talking about. So I'm going to show you what to do to take care of it. It's a pretty easy process, really. I've just got a brush. This is just a normal dog brush. You don't have to get anything special. In fact, you could just use your hands if you wanted to, but I do find a brush helps a little bit just to kind of get all that out. And I'm just going to brush him. So let me get him out here on the table here. We'll show you what it looks like when he's stuck in the molt, and we'll show you kind of how to take care of that. All right, here we go. This is my buck, and what you may notice is that his fur just looks rough. It's just kind of sticking up like that, and if you grab it, it just comes right out. So that's what I mean by him being stuck in the molt. He's been this way for a couple of weeks, so it's really time to give him a hand and help him. And again, all I'm going to do is just kind of brush him out, just lightly brush him. And most of this fur, you may have to go backwards a little bit, back and forth across there. And you can see it just comes right out. It's just super easy. And again, you could just use your hands and just kind of pull it out if you wanted to. I just find that it works better to brush it a little bit. But you can see clumps of fur just coming right out of him, just super easy to pull out. So we're going to brush him down a little bit. Might help to cover his eyes, keep him a little bit calmer while we go through this. He's pretty mellow. He kind of likes the attention, so it's not bothering him too much. And this is going to take me, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes. You don't need to necessarily watch all of this, but we'll come back whenever we're done and show you what he looks like. Nothing special to the way I'm doing it. Like I said, I'm just brushing him out. I'll kind of go back and forth across it, brush against the grain a little bit, get that stuff to kind of come loose, and then brush with it a little bit, and it should just come right out pretty easily. So let me get this done, and we'll come back and show you the end result. Okay, not quite finished yet, but you can see just, I mean, a ton of fur. Most of it's blown away, actually. Got quite a bit of it here. This is a good idea, actually, to save some of this fur. Just stick it in a Ziploc bag or something. And if you have a doe, especially during the wintertime, that doesn't pull enough hair, this would be best to save it from a doe rather than a buck. But if you have a doe that doesn't pull enough fur whenever she has a litter, this can serve as a reserve for you. And you can just pull this out and throw it over the babies and help keep them warm. I'm not going to mess with doing that right now. It's just going to go everywhere. It's got fur all over the place. Get him finished up grooming though. And I'll show you another method here real quick. You know, the brush works pretty well. It gets quite a bit of this fur off, but sometimes some of it's kind of stubborn. If you had one that had a little bit finer teeth in it, it might be a little bit easier. But one thing you can do is just kind of run your hands over and just kind of pluck at him a little bit. And I'm not pulling hard on this. I'm just kind of grabbing his fur and just kind of pulling on it a little bit, and you know, the fur pretty much comes out. Especially when you rub him down like this, you'll see, and I don't know how well this is showing up on camera, but you'll see these little blotchy spots right here. Those are the spots that he's going to have most of the loose fur that's going to come out, and we just pull up on it like that, and it just pulls right out. I'm not pulling hard. I'm just giving it a little bit of a pull, and it just comes right out. Okay, I think we're about done for today, and I don't have every little bit of fur off of him. You can see there's still a few little blotchy spots, but for the most part, I got quite a bit. And he's, you know, you can see the brush is full of fur. Most of it's flown away, but hang on a second here, I'll show you a big chunk of what I got out of here. And there's just fur all over the place right now. There's a whole handful of it I got out of him. I got 3 or 4 more handfuls, all about that size, just floating around here. But again, not all of it, but that's okay. It'll be enough for today. It gets a good start on that. And you can see that he's still not perfectly smoothed out yet. He's got a couple of rough spots right back here, but that fur is not quite loosened up enough to get it all out. He's got one spot that's just almost bald right there, but that's nothing to worry about. It'll grow back in, so we don't have to worry about that too much. It's a little bit hot out today. The sun's starting to come out. I don't really want to keep him out. He seems to enjoy being groomed, but at the same time, I need to let him get back in the shade, get back to his water and all that, and let him calm down a little bit, not get him too worked up in the heat here. One of the things I will say is that, you know, I don't usually worry about doing this too much. I don't have to do too much grooming to him, but whenever he gets, like he had those rough patches right here when I first started the video, and those lasted for about 2 weeks, and that's the point. Whenever it's going for about 2 weeks or more, especially in the summertime, that's the point whenever I decide, well, I need to get him groomed out just a little bit. Let me get him put up and I'll come out and I'll give you some more thoughts on this. Come here, buddy. All right, well, I got him put up. I got rabbit fur all over me now. It's all over the place, but that's okay. Okay, like I said, most of the time you don't have to worry about doing that. I don't really have to groom my rabbits very often at all, other than whenever they get kind of stuck in that molt. There's a couple other things that you might want to look for that might tell you you need to groom your rabbit. You need to go ahead and brush it out, and that would be like if you see droppings that are like strung together on a string, that's because the rabbit's been like pulling at its fur to get it out, and it's probably ingesting a lot of it. Now the good news is it's going through their digestive tract, but the bad news is that if you start seeing that, then that could mean that they're ingesting too much fur. That can lead to some blockages in their intestines and some of those kinds of things. So sometimes you'll see, like in the cages, it's just hanging from the cage because the fur in there gets stuck up, and it's just like you see droppings on a string, basically. If you haven't seen that before, don't worry. When you see it, you'll know exactly what it is, and that could be a sign that, you know, you need to get your rabbit out, brush it down a little bit, get rid of some of that extra fur, help it out just a little bit. Other than that, most of the time when they molt, you really don't have to do anything. You'll just see all of a sudden a bunch of fur in the cage all over the place, and they just take care of it on their own. It's not that big of a concern. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I got a few things cleared up for you. Let me know your comments below. Do you have a different kind of rabbit? Do you have rabbits that you have to groom on a regular basis? How often are you grooming them yourselves? And do you have something that works out just fantastic for grooming your rabbits? Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Hit that subscribe button if you want to keep up with the content. And as always, God bless.